A man convicted of murder for leaving his 22-month-old son in a hot car for hours is now asking Georgia's highest court to overturn his conviction. And I'll tell you, and I don't say this lightly, I hope the court grants it. I covered this case. Attorneys for Justin Ross Harris argued, among other things, that evidence that he was sexting with underage girls should not have been allowed into evidence. Prosecutors argued that Harris wanted to be rid of his son so he could live a carefree and child-free life. But I was never convinced that the evidence backed that up. Harris was sentenced to life without parole, plus an additional 32 years in prison for the death of his son, Cooper. The now 41-year-old told police he forgot to drop his son off at daycare on the morning of June 18, 2014, driving straight to his job at Home Depot without remembering that Cooper was still in his car seat. This case made national headlines, and many in the media were willing to convict him before the trial even started. But before the trial, prosecutors gave the impression they had a wealth of incriminating information regarding internet searches that Harris made regarding hot car deaths, animals in hot cars, and living child-free. But they didn't. The defense even discovered that he hadn't searched for any of it. Some of Harris's online history even played in his favor. The night before Cooper's death, Harris was doing online research about planning a family vacation with a child and whether or not kids could go on a cruise for free. There was also a claim about a child-free website he went on. Well, turns out someone sent him a link, which he responded, quote, grossness. Another issue was how police say Harris reacted. An officer testified that he never saw Harris cry. This is the video from that day that shows how Harris reacted.
I'm so sorry.
What is confirmed is that Harris searched for how to survive prison. But that may be because he was a sleazeball. He'd been exchanging sexually explicit messages and pictures with underage girls. He was not a good guy. And the court heard from multiple women he was having affairs with. But here's the key on the murder count. They were supposed to help the prosecution prove that Harris wanted to get away from his family. But they ended up saying the opposite. The jury learned that he told his mistresses that he wouldn't leave his wife because he loved his son too much. There were also compelling testimony from his ex-wife, who was obviously not happy with him as a husband, but said he was a great father. So, do I think that Justin Ross Harris was extremely negligent and should be held responsible? Yes. He's now served over 7 years behind bars. But do I think he did this on purpose? No. Joining me now is Rachel Stockman, the president of the Law and Crime Network. She has covered this case extensively, and Rachel and I have talked about this at length many times. Rachel, what do you make of this case, and what are your thoughts about this appeal?
Well, first off, I just want to say this case is just horrifying. As a mom of a son exactly the same age as Cooper, going through some of the testimony of what happened to this little boy is horrifying. And I 100% agree with you, Dan. This guy is a complete sleazeball. He's a disgusting man who obviously was doing all sorts of affairs and things on his family. However, I agree with you. If you really boil down to what the evidence was that the prosecutors had against Justin Ross Harris, it's thin. There's not a lot there.
Let me play a piece of sound. This is from one of his mistresses. This is number 4. And this is her recounting a conversation she had with him about whether he would leave his wife.
Ross tell you if it wasn't for Cooper, he would leave Leanna?
Yes.
He loved that baby more than anything.
Yes.
And what was expressed to you, what Ross Harris expressed to you was that he wouldn't do that to his little boy. He wouldn't do that to Cooper.
Yes. Yes.
He wouldn't end his marriage because he loved that little boy that much.
Yes.
So, Rachel, as we watch this and we frame this in the way that I have, I know people who didn't follow the trial are going to ask, well, then how was he convicted?
Right. And I think there is one piece of evidence, Dan, that you didn't mention that I think is very damning. And that's the fact that after Justin parks his car with his son in the car, he claims he forgot. He goes out to lunch around noon with some friends, and he buys light bulbs, and he comes back to his car at around noon. So his son had been in the car for several hours and was probably already dead. He opens the front seat, drops the light bulbs in the front seat, and then leaves and goes back to work. Now, the prosecution argues there is no way he didn't smell the stench of death when he opened up that car. And I do think that raises certainly some eyebrows. However, I think all of this evidence is very circumstantial. And there is an argument, which is the defense's argument, that he just threw the light bulbs in there and he didn't look around. He was just running back to work.
And the prosecution actually went further at times. They seem to be suggesting that he was going to check to see if he achieved his goal of killing the child. And yet then when you watch the video of it, there's surveillance video, it does seem he's just sort of tossing in these light bulbs. Look, there's no doubt that this guy was, you know, if I'm right and if you're right, he's one of the unluckiest people ever, right? Based on all of the circumstances, all of the facts, all of these things coming together at once that look so bad for him. But, you know, I never thought that light bulb, the idea is that he wouldn't have smelled death in the car, and that he's buying light bulbs because he's checking to make sure that his son is already dead?
Yeah, like it was some kind of excuse for him to go back. But if you look at the surveillance video, like you mentioned, and you can see it, it's really quick. He doesn't look around. I can't tell he's looking in the back seat. And of course, you know, if you're not paying attention, you know, there is an argument that he was just throwing light bulbs in his car.
Let me play a piece of the prosecution's closing argument. This is number 2 from the trial.
We know that in these weeks after that vacation, leading up to June 18, 2014, at a time that his wife was asking him to come home and spend some time with her and Cooper because they were going to be leaving a few days later, he lied to her about what he was doing, and he went to a seedy Marietta hotel and had sex for money with a prostitute.
You know, I feel like I'm in a bit of a difficult spot, right? Because this guy is such a bad guy, right? And that some people are going to sort of hear all the things he did, texting with underage girls, having sex with prostitutes and this and that. And yet, you know, this is exactly what the appeal is based on, right? Is that the prosecution threw everything in the kitchen sink in against this guy, and that it essentially prejudiced the jury.
Right, exactly. That's their argument. They're saying, okay, why is it relevant that a year and a half ago or months and months before this incident, he was doing some of these things? And this so prejudiced the jury that they are so kind of jaded by this information, they can't clearly look at the evidence of the actual crime. And that is troubling because there was a lot in there, including, may I add, the fact that the prosecutors took sex that he had sent to a woman of his genital area and blew them up in huge posters for the jurors to take a very close look at. So there were some questionable moves by the prosecutors, for sure.
Yeah. All right. We shall see what happens. Again, this is one of these cases where I hope that you, the viewers, understand that I am looking at this from a legal perspective, what I think is very important legal analysis. I am not trying to somehow say, you know, poor guy. Although, anyway, I don't know. Rachel Stockman, thank you for coming on the program. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.